Welcome back to another episode of Random and Famous. Let me give you a little background about this channel. I'm trying to reach out to the individuals who have done something different and changed their lives and brought results to their personal life. So I'm very glad to welcome today CEO and founder of Geotourist. He's also an associate member of World Travel and Tourism and board member of Tourism Society Council. Thank you, Shaon, for joining us. And tell the audience, you're welcome. And tell the audience who don't know about yourself, what do you do?
Thank you very much for having me here. So I'm Shaon Talukder. I'm CEO and founder of Geotourist, which is a global travel platform to deliver audio guide experiences and help people learn about the world around them and seamlessly travel wherever they go. And as you said, it's been an interesting journey, and we were the first company to be invited to join the World Travel and Tourism Council as an associate member because of the work we're doing in global travel movements and insights around visitor behavior. And again, I'm a board member of the Tourism Society, again, because we also represent an opportunity for a different type of career path for people in the travel industry, i.e. travel tech, which is seen as a new kind of way to kind of get and encourage people to join the industry.
Yeah. Okay. So, how did you come up with this idea, app about the tourism, a geotourist app?
So Geotourist basically it's a personal guide to the world, and it's a platform which allows people to share their stories and ideas about place for other people to consume. And the idea came about when I was traveling with my wife around Australia, and we went to book a tour guide for Ayers Rock, and we'd flown in for a day or overnight, and the tour you can do either in the morning at sunrise or you can do it at sunset. And so we did what most people do. We went onto TripAdvisor and we found a guide that kept on getting 5 stars from everyone, and everyone said he's amazing, he lives and breathes the rock and he brings it to life. So we thought, okay, this is the guy. And so we went to the tourist office, which was basically a porter cabin, and when we went in to book this guy, it was his day off. So unfortunately, we couldn't get the guy who we had hoped to get. So the company gave us a different person, and the tour itself was my wife and I with the guide and a couple of others walking around the rock, and they tell you a story at different points around the rock. So you see the rock and it's beautiful, and you see the changing colors of the rock face. But at the end of the experience, I thought, well, I've seen everything. It's beautiful, but I was left feeling wanting on the whole storytelling part. And I thought I didn't feel that I got value from the price was quite expensive, and I felt that it's not that I don't think it was worth the money I spent, but perhaps the guy who we were hoping to get could have given us that whole experience. And I would just love to hear how he would have told the story. So I thought, well, obviously he can't be there 24/7, but if he had left his voice on the map for me to visit at my own convenience, that would have been amazing. And this is a few years ago when there weren't that many travel apps, fewer still in kind of the audio space. And so I thought, well, this is a single destination. Wouldn't it be amazing if we created a platform and allowed everyone to share their stories in the same place? And basically that was the spark that led to Geotourist.
Okay. So you came up with this great idea, but in my opinion, it's quite challenging when you are new in the market. So how you will reach out that point to the audience and go to this big organizations and promote your app? What did you do that time?
It's a really good question. So a good idea is the first step. Taking action is probably the next step, and then it's a whole kind of series of learnings. So the first thing was to obviously spend a lot of time finding out what users would want from an app. So we actually spent a lot of time working and doing focus groups with travelers to understand what the product experience they would want from a travel companion tool. And then we got the company together. We had a plan. We got developer team together and then started building. But as a platform, the first thing that happens once you've built the technology is you have a working functional platform but no content. So the first job is to make sure that you can source good, high quality, credible content so that it becomes a useful tool for people. So like I said, at the time, because we were quite unique in the market, we approached a few tourism boards and organizations, literally emailed people or picked up the phone to different companies, got through to various different people. And we got a decent, people were interested because what we were doing was completely new. And so some conversations were, because we were early in the market, a lot of people didn't quite get the concept because we're doing something new with smartphones, we were putting voices on the map. For some organizations and people we spoke to, it was a bit beyond their kind of thinking at the time. But then there are a lot of other people or other organizations who understand the value of finding a new way to deliver the stories that they had and making it more accessible to people on the ground. And with these organizations, and some of them were quite large, I mean, we very early on, we started working with Historic England and the Open University, and others where they had rich heritage, historical content, and they were looking for new innovative ways to reach their audiences, particularly, like I said, on the ground when the experience is being, delivered in the best context. So, so from that experience, we kind of started to learn what the kind of those clients are expecting, what the kind of questions they're asking, and that helped us to approach more and to kind of learn more about how we should also kind of look towards improving our product itself and the
I saw
technology.
your profile somewhere that this app won the Gold Award, I think, a couple of years ago, which is great.
Yeah.
So it means it's worked really well for you. So in terms of pushing all these things, what would you say, what was the motive behind, or what was the force behind that I have to make it successful?
Again, I don't think anyone's ever asked me that. So, so for me personally, this is a personal thing of me. I hate being ripped off.
Okay.
So, and the whole experience of handing, I think we spent over $100 or pounds on this tour guide, and like I said, I don't feel it represented the value that I was hoping to get. And I'm not saying we couldn't have got that value, but there was a mismatch. And I thought, this is an educational tool. So, we were very, very fortunate and privileged to be able to fly to America. It was for my wife's friend's wedding. So we, lifelong friend, we went there anyway. But then some of these experiences are out of reach for people. And for me, there's a whole piece about where I think people can learn a lot from other people and connect together a bit more closely. So for me, it was about, we can build a lot of bridges and break a lot of barriers by allowing different people to learn things about different other people. And that's kind of the premise of travel. So for me, there was kind of a personal drive to want to unlock all of that knowledge for people to consume. Because I feel there's a lot of value that to be had. And from my own personal experience and, kind of the things that I enjoy doing, I like learning about other people's cultures and the heritage behind it. Particularly when I go to travel to those places, because it helps me understand more about how communities developed. And even, kind of contemporary communities, I'm also interested about what people do in their places now as well. So it's not just about history, it's about how people live and what they do in current times. So for me, aggregating all of that together in a single platform, making the whole experience seamless and free was really important. And that was also borne out by the focus groups of travelers who said they wanted to have an app that had everywhere in the single place, that was freely accessible, allowed them to travel anywhere, spoke to them in any language. And again, by doing that, you remove another barrier as well. So it was all about democratizing storytelling and making the access open to everyone.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so when did you say you have taken a step which have changed your life? If you look back, it could be years ago, 6 months ago, a couple of weeks ago, but you have taken that step, because many of people, they have ideas in mind and they're thinking about to do something, their own business or write a book online business, but they're always afraid of that first step. So when
Mm.
did you say that you have done this, and you are glad that you have made the decision?
Yeah. No, again, another good question. I mean, look, I'm in the middle of a process of a bigger picture. I mean, my dad made, my parents made a big decision to travel from Asia, from Bangladesh, to come to the UK. That was the first step. So then I was born here. I'm already part of another journey. And then, they did whatever they did to make sure that we were educated and moved from inner city London to some better places for myself and my sister to, go to good schools. So there it's not just about my own decisions. There are other things that other people are doing to get us there. But in terms of how I would say things pivoted for me. So I trained up as a pharmacist, and I practiced for 10 years, and I was, even if I do say so myself, I was, I felt like I had achieved quite a lot in that time as a pharmacist. And then my sister said to me she was interested in setting up a business, and as a pharmacist it's a vocation, it's a profession, and I was a locum, so I was a freelance pharmacist, and the nature of that profession means that you have to take bookings to know when and where you're working, and my diary was often booked 1 year in advance. So she asked me to attend a course on business. And prior to that, I was a professional. I was technical person, so I did what I did, and this was completely left field. And I remember her saying it was a course that was more multiple days, and I would have to unbook some work, and that was something that I completely, it was against my grain. If I give my word, I'm there. And she said, look, we have we have these ambitions, people have ideas, and often it's a question about how do you implement them, as you said, how do you take the next step. So um so for the first time, and I'm not proud of having to unbook work, having given my word, but I told them I have something on it, could you find someone else? And this was a big, I know lots of people do that kind of thing, but for me this was something that I wasn't wasn't usual to me. So I unbooked work, and I attended the course with her, which was, again, it was the other kind of part to that was it was a very expensive course. So once once you commit to it, you're all in, and it gave me a different perspective on what other people were doing in business and entrepreneurship. And we have these ideas and we want to think that we're entrepreneurial, but when you see what other people are doing, it further inspires
Yeah.
you to perhaps take action. And for me, one of the things I noticed is that there was a range of people from all different backgrounds, and some who were successful, some that weren't, and there was no kind of correlation between, say, academic intelligence and success,
Okay.
and vice versa. So you could, so I saw lots of different permutations of achievement or non-achievement within this group of people. So I thought, well, look, if you apply some intelligence and then learn some of the entrepreneurial tactical intelligence and put that together, surely you can achieve significantly more, and then obviously then learn about working with people. So I think that the one thing that changed was when I went from that structured
Mm.
professional working environment to take a chance on looking at how the unstructured world of entrepreneurialism works.
That's, that's great. Yeah, I noticed quite a few seminars happens, especially around London and in London. And people go for the seminars, and you are really excited. You get motivated. You come back and you wrote all the notes in your diary. And as the days goes by and the week gone, this all goes down the drain. Because you're not
Yeah,
taking that first step. Do you
yeah.
think having a mentor at that point is important? That someone is pushing you, like you found someone or you try to find someone, and there is someone behind you.
Yeah, well, I mean, there are people all around you. I wouldn't say there's someone behind you necessarily. There are at different stages. I think at that particular time, like I said, it was, we had our parents and, different, work colleagues and, different people you learn from all along the way. In terms of the person who takes the first step. So, like I said, my sister presented this scenario to me. She's very much a go-getter, act first, think later, perhaps. But she achieves results, whereas I think a lot first and then wait to take action, if at all, or I used to be. So I noticed while she was doing things and achieving various things, good and bad, I was in the thinking process trying to perfect things. So the whole perfection is, as you said, you make lots of notes and then they just sit there. And what I noticed is that her cycle of learning was improving all the time. So while she was taking action and some things having mixed results, the more action she took, the more she learned and the better she got. So I thought, well, actually, it's just about starting and learning as you go along. So, and I was preventing myself from doing that by trying to be the expert before I had started. So I used to read up a lot, trying to take information from all sorts of sources before I took action. And actually, you need enough enough knowledge to get started safely and well, without you kind of jeopardizing the opportunity, and then try and learn as much as you can as you go along. And also learning from this, whatever you're going into, you can learn a hell of a lot from that as well. So I would say in this scenario, I learned from my sister's example of taking action all the time.
I think I prefer it the same way. Yeah. You just try to go through the process and learn on the way, and have to be a bit of risk taker, I guess. You're willing to take that risk and put effort, and then I think, or I believe actually, you will achieve the results in that any case.
Yeah, it's
Uh,
about managing the risk. I think that's the best thing to do. That's with a bit of knowledge and faith.
Yeah. What would you say to someone who's trying to start something new? What message you will give them? What they should do?
I would say, be considered in what you want to do. I choose something that you are really interested in or passionate about. I know people say, you need to have passion, but I think the reality is, you have to think about, if you're successful in the thing that you end up doing, it may as well be something you really enjoy, because you're obviously going to put a lot more in. And it's cliche, but I think it's true. Or find an alignment to the thing that you want to do where you enjoy. And I think from that, you then, do a bit of research if you're not familiar with the subject as well. Get to learn as much as you can. Maybe ask some other, as you were talking about mentors, maybe talk about, connect with some people who may have gone through a similar journey that you're interested in. See if you can get some feedback from them. I mean, the world is different. There's a lot of technology talks like yours and TED and others out there where you can actually learn from founders and entrepreneurs or people from a variety of walks of life. And I think you can shortcut from other people's experience, at least to get some insight about what's at the end, what's on the way, maybe how to get started, and then give it a go. Like I said, within a managed risk environment, because I think you're more likely to be successful when you have a bit of insight behind what you're about to do.
Yeah, exactly. You have a bit of knowledge. You challenge yourself. You be consistent. You have a vision. I think it's important. Yeah. You plan everything, and then success comes, I think, along the way.
And ask a lot of questions as well, but do something with the answers. I've seen a lot of people who ask questions, and 10 years later they're still asking questions, but haven't actually taken action on the first set of questions, or they repeat the same questions over and over again. So some people are in this cycle of, like a hamster wheel, where they keep on asking the same things, but actually don't then take a next step from it because they're maybe too scared, as you said.
Not asking questions and taking the step, actually, the first step.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much, Shaon. And I hope someone will get a positive hint from this conversation and take that next step which they require. Thanks so much, and thank you for joining me, and speak with you soon. Cheers, bye.
Thank you. Bye.